Okay, welcome to this video. It's about learning how to break build. We're going to start right at the beginning. Red color red is about controlling that cue ball, learn to make bigger breaks, 20s, 30s, 50s, 70s, and even up to making your first century break. If you like this, please subscribe to the channel. Enjoy, guys. So let's start with this very basic one. So it's obviously red, blue, red. The most basic shot, it's basically just stun the red in, because a lot of people comment that I can't even put 2 balls in a row at snooker, it's that difficult. So start with something as simple as this. If you stun the red in, you're automatically right side of the blue. Then because obviously the blue into the middle pocket is one of the easiest colors you can play, this is a good place to start. This angle on the blue, which means make a stun shot in the blue, you're automatically on the red again. You're not having to hit the ball very hard. You're hitting the middle of the cue ball, just below center to get the stun. So very simple, nothing to do with the cue ball. Very, very simple routine for beginners to try and feel how to make stun shots, trying to feel like they're controlling the cue ball. Straight pots, except for the blue obviously, but red color red, that is a basic beginner's exercise to get you going. Okay, we're stepping up a little bit from just potting red color red. Your probably next target as a beginner of playing snooker is to make a 20 break, because obviously you're going to try and increase your best breaks all the time, 20, 30, 50, again, eventually, hopefully to make a century. So got 4 reds this time, so 4 reds, 4 colors, sticking to the blue, keeping it simple. So that will give us a 24 break. And doing this challenge, you're playing different shots. The first routine was basically stuns, 3 stuns basically. Here, you're possibly having to use cushions, you're playing little stun shots. You can use all the pockets. The plan wasn't to use a corner pocket, but again, because you're playing for the blue, very, very simple stuff. Little stun this time. I've placed the 4 reds round about the blue. You should never have to hit the ball too hard. It's all about just nicely controlling the cue ball. The blue's always in the same place. It's always the easiest color on the table to pot. And it's just a matter of, with the help of that first routine, 3 stuns, that can give you a feel to go on and do this routine, which is basically just as easy, but we've added a little topspin shots. So that's a pretty simple routine again. We've made our 20 break, we made a 24. These routines, even the first and second one, see if you can do them 3 times in a row before you move on to the next stage. Get yourself comfortable with what you're doing with the cue ball, not hitting the ball too hard, thinking about your position a little bit, playing top spins, playing stuns, even little screw shots. And when you've, as I say, 3 in a row, move on to more advanced. Try and make a maybe from 20 break, jump to 30, jump to 40, but yeah, we'll make it a little bit more advanced. Okay, we've stepped it up now. It's time to make a 30 break, and we've brought you down the table from the easy blues into the middle pocket to the black, obviously the most valuable color on the table, 7 points. So 4 reds, 4 blacks, 32. So that'll be your 30 break. Start it off easily. Don't give yourself anything complicated to start off with. First red is basically a stun, which you'll have learned from playing the reds and blues around the middle. And it's the same concept, you're not overhitting the ball. Just little middle of the cue ball, little stuns. That's 8. Think about, when you get to this stage of trying to make 30 breaks, you can obviously pot 3, 4, 5, 6 balls in a row. So now you can think about position, whether you want to use cushions, whether you want to play top spin, whether you want to play stun. So you should be comfortable, or starting to get comfortable, with what you're doing with the cue ball. And being able to know how hard you have to hit the cue ball in order to get the reaction that you want. I've somehow managed to make this difficult, but in snooker that can happen, as you know. So again, I've got the rest out, but it's not a problem, just a stun off the cushion. So you'd be thinking about, as I did, playing that red, leaving yourself high on this black because you need to get to the red below the black. Last red. You've got choices here. What you might feel comfortable, you might feel more comfortable playing top spin, falling through for the black in here, or a little screw back, which I'll play for the black to the same pocket. Black ball. So that's your first 30 break, a 32. So I think the next thing, if you can do that 3 times in a row, next thing you've got to be thinking about is making 50 breaks. You've got 7 reds here. Again, it's not too difficult. The reds are all down the middle of the table. We're not at a stage now, I think, where we want to put reds near cushions and make things too difficult. The important thing is to get your confidence up so you can score in a game. You feel comfortable making 30s, 40s. So keeping it simple, I think, at the beginning is very, very important. The most important thing here is making the 50 break, not how difficult the pots are. Listen, if you can regularly make 30s, 40s, 50s, it's going to improve yourself as a snooker player. As you will start making these 30s, 40s, you'll start to know about thinking a couple of shots in advance, playing that first red in order to give yourself an angle in the black to play for the next red. That's the art of break building. Again, we're never trying to hit the ball too hard. We're trying to just, obviously depends how good the cloth is on your table and your club, but never try and overhit the ball. And the beauty of, because the reds are going further up the table, you're going to have to play different shots. Like here, I'll finish a little bit straight in the black, so I've got to play the screw back. But again, don't overhit it. Because the reds in this routine, still very simple, because you make sure you put the black and screw back of the cushion, you're going to have a choice of still 3 or 4 reds. So that's the beauty of keeping these routines very simple. Obviously playing different colours is improving your middle pocket play, not sticking to the same blacks or the same pinks or the same blues, playing different shots. Okay, that's the 30 break. To 8. Finally, it's the first shot we had to play pretty hard now. Going to play a deep screw off the cushion for the red into this middle pocket. Perfect position. And that is your first 50 break. Keep it simple and don't overhit the cue ball. Okay, so if you're making regular 50 breaks, you become a player. Let's just take it step by step. We're going to try and make a 70 or an 80 break. Now we've got open reds, but we're made it a little bit more advanced now, because obviously to make big breaks, the reds are not all going to be in the open. So you're going to have to play cannons in order to develop reds. So that's the reason I put a little bunch of 5 here. We've got easy opens. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open reds. We've got 5 and a little bunch. So can we make like a little 70 or 80 break? Now, I always think the beauty of going into, say you've got 5 reds in this situation, the beauty of going into these early is because you've got open reds, if the split on these 5 doesn't work out, you haven't got a pot in one of these 5, chances are you might have a pot in one of the open reds. So I always think if there is a little bunch of reds together, go into them as early as possible. You always need a little bit of luck sometimes going to the pack, but it's okay. We've got a choice of red into each middle. I'm going to play this one. And now we've got all the reds and colours exactly where we want them. So now it's a choice. We can play black. I'm choosing to play pink, basically because you want to keep break building, especially in the sort of beginner phase, keep break building as simple as possible. If you've just got a pink where you literally need to pot in the middle, leave the cue ball basically where the pink was, gives you a choice of 1, 2, 3, even 4 reds. If you play the black, you've got to play off the cushion, maybe a trace aside. Keep it simple. Another tip in break building this kind of situation, the less that you can use or try not to use cushions, the better, because obviously the cue ball's traveling a further distance, more difficult to control pace of the cue ball. So if you can keep it to just little follow-throughs, little stuns, keep tight control of that cue ball. Mark Allen would always say that he never wants the cue ball to be about further than this away from his colours, because it gives him the optimum chance to control the cue ball. 23. High on the black now. And with this routine, we've added 2 reds near the cushion, which we haven't done before. So again, making things slightly trickier, but not too difficult. If you're making regular 50s, these reds are not a problem. Obviously, the more reds on the table, more decisions. I've actually got a choice of playing any of these 4 reds. Now, you want to keep it as simple as possible. The easiest shot probably is this red, but we'd have to get the long rest out. I'm feeling a bit lazy today, so I'm going to play a slightly trickier red into the middle pocket and stun for the blue. Not the smoothest cue action in the world, but nicely on the blue. You've got choices here. You could pot this red and follow through here for the pink to there, but the easier positional shot is just to stun for the blue, as long as you don't go past the blue, because then you've got to come in and out of bulk. I've almost done that, but I'm straight enough just to stun for this red. Another thing you'll see, I've kept the bulk colours off the table because we want to practice keeping the cue ball down this end of the table where all the high value colour is. We don't want to be going up for the bulk colours if we can help it. And that's the reason with these routines, leave the bulk colours out of this. Also, when you're going through these stages of trying to make bigger breaks, you've gone from red colour red to 20 to 30 to 50. It's obviously going to be a milestone in your snooker career. So you're going to start possibly getting a bit twitchy. Try and just think of the shot you're going to play. Try and, for this black, say, okay, you're starting to get excited, you're going to make a 70 or an 80 break, but that's in the future. So just think about this black, go through in your mind what you're going to play. I'm going to pot the black into the corner pocket. I'm going to stun the cue ball off the cushion for this red, almost like be a commentator in your head. And that will hopefully take away thoughts of, I could make my biggest break here. Just a little stun for this red. It's probably the furthest away we've been from any of the reds in this break. When you can start doing that 2 or 3 times in a row, you're ready to make century breaks. So you're making 80 breaks, you're making them regularly. What's the next step? Obviously, to make your first century break. I made my first one, 102, when I was 13 years old, and it actually took me a good few months to make my second century. I thought it would be easy, but it didn't. But century breaks are a real milestone in any snooker player's career, especially as an amateur playing in a club. We're going to try and go through this routine. I think it doesn't matter, obviously, you don't have to have the reds in the exact position, but to make it more advanced, if you're in a frame of snooker and make a century, the reds are not going to be, very rarely going to be like soldiers all in the middle of the table, like the previous routines we've done. To make century breaks, you've got to be a more advanced positional player. You've got to be able to know when to open the pack. So let's go ahead and try and make a century break. Finished straight in the black there, so I had to play just a screw for this red into the middle pocket. But obviously, when the balls are in this situation, unless you're a really advanced player, you're not going to have the cue ball on an absolute string every shot. So it's important, obviously, to keep your options open. So probably earlier than I wanted to, I've had to go up the table. The idea is to stay around the black and get back down for the black here. They've got an opportunity. Another thing is, like, when you've got to spot opportunities like this in a break. This angle on the red is a little bit too much to hold for the blue. So we've got an opportunity we've seen that, got an opportunity to go down the table and play for the black. When you become a more advanced break builder, this is the choices you've got. So I've got a red here that goes into here. I've got a red up by the blue. I've got this red here. I've got an angle to do all of that, play for any of those reds, but I've also got an angle to go into the pack. The only thing about going into the pack is the shape of the pack. It's another thing, it's an art in break building. If I screw into the pack here, the cue ball is going to go around here, round off these two reds, off this red, and probably come back down here. So you'd probably be lucky to land on a red. So it's another thing that, okay, it's maybe not important until you become a professional, but looking at the shape of the pack can help make your decision whether you want to go into them or not. So I'm not going to do it. Another thing, obviously, you'll be thinking about if you're playing in a match is making enough to win the frame. We're trying to make a century break here, but so sometimes taking risk, like going into the pack out of the equation, helps. We've got a red at the edge of the pack here we can stun for. Stun the cue ball up here. Choice of that one. Even if we go too far, we've got this one. Okay, so this red, we've come a little bit short. So the angle we've got in the red, we're going to make contact with the red that's next to it. So we're going to bring reds into play here, but we've got to try and judge the screw of the cushion up for the blue. It's not bad. A little bit too far for the blue, but we've brought more reds into play. As so often happens, you've got to go up for a bulk colour at some stage. So we're on the green, deep screw. Hit that pretty well. We gave ourselves a choice, again, a couple of reds. This straight one, obviously, stun for the black, is the one we're going to play. Okay, quite happy with that one. Nicely on the red. Okay, we're finished by a little bit too much angle in this blue now, more than what we wanted. It's not the easiest shot to play for one of the loose reds. This red we'd have to play here, here, here. This red, we can't really play for up the cushion because that one's in the way. So I'm going to take a chance here, play the cannon, the red next to the pink, because that will push the red into the other reds, and I think we'll be pretty unlucky if we're not on anything. So sometimes in the middle of a break, you've got to take a little bit of a risk. Got the cannon. That's nice. That's worked out nice. Didn't play that too well, actually. I always knew I had this red in reserve, but I'd actually played for two reds into the other pocket. Shouldn't be a problem, stunning for the black. You can always be sucked into. I know I always say that it's good to play the cue ball into an area to give yourself options, and it absolutely is. But if you do that all the time, sometimes you just get too careless and you end up on nothing. So sometimes it is good to think, well, that's the red I'm playing for. If it goes wrong, I've got other options. So still have a target of a shot, have a shot in your mind, but knowing that if that goes wrong, you've got options. I mean, we've got ourselves in a good position now to make a century break. Now, going to have to play a good shot here, slightly off straight with the black, so it's a matter of screwing back off this cushion. We're going to have to play with left-hand side, so when it hits the cushion, it goes up the table for a choice of these two reds. There's a side, up the table, perfect. Probably at the stage of the frame where this red is probably the frame one. But obviously, the century is what we're after, so we're not thinking about the frame. We've got an angle in the black here, where the shot is to play the cannon on the two reds. We're opening the two reds, we're bound to be on this one, into this corner pocket. Possibly be on one of the other reds. So we've opened the two reds, A little bit hampered, but shouldn't be a problem. Got a choice of pink or black. Now, probably starting to get a little bit twitchy now, thinking about the first century. So now is the time to maybe just take a second more before you get down to play the shot, just to say to yourself, remind yourself exactly what shot you're going to play, even if it's something as straightforward as this. So I'm going to pot the red in the corner pocket, and I'm going to stun for the pink. Even a shot as simple as that, if you can commentate to yourself, just stop yourself, you know, thinking about, oh, what's going to happen? Am I going to make my first century break? Now we're feeling good. Okay, we're not on the black, but we've made our first century break. And now the game seems easy. Gonna go and make new century breaks. Then it'll be your highest century break. And then probably be starting to think about 147s. But learn the basics. We started off red colour red, we went 20s, we went 30s, 50s, 70, 80, then century break. It's all about cue ball control. That's what it's all about. Control this white ball. And that makes snooker an awful lot easier. Okay, I'm not in the pink. But still potted it. Mr. Black, who cares? Made the first century break, so keep control of that cue ball. Make sure you know what shot you're going to play before you get down to play it, and your snooker will improve very, very quickly.